Good morning, everybody. I kind of just wanted to make a follow-up video to the how to succeed in college, like the first fundamental step being making college a priority to you as being a requirement to succeed. And I kind of wanted to just add a few points that I've thought about. And again, this is kind of a process of me just putting all my ideas out there, and hopefully subsequently I can go back and organize these into a more distilled, succinct, packaged video that's more structured and helpful. In any event, a large part of succeeding in college and anything in life is motivation, right? It comes down to those late nights where your friends are going out to have a drink or go to a party or, relax at the pool, whatever the case is, and, invite you to come, and you have a choice between spending the time on studying, doing your homework, reviewing for tests, etc., learning the material you need to learn, which sometimes often is grueling or, not very attractive thing to do as far as how much work it's going to take you and effort and willpower. There's a lot of nights that are like that you're going to be faced with, where your success is going to be determined by your ability to choose to study, do hard things instead of do easy things and things that sound fun. And something that I came back to kind of over and over, especially right when I was done with college, when all this was fresh in my mind, and it sounds extreme, but it's really true, is I was so committed to getting my degree that I had decided at first at a subconscious level, and I didn't even realize it had gotten to this point until I was talking to people after the fact, that I was either going to get my degree or die trying. It sounds dramatic, but that's really truly where my heart and soul were at by the time I graduated. Is I was going to get my degree or I was going to die trying. That's how committed I was to succeeding. And I think that this is... I'm still exploring how this works. I mean, how do you get yourself to commit to something to that level? Is it something that you can just decide? That you decide that you're either going to die trying or succeed? Or is it something that that has to just already be in you? I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. But I think it is something, that you could at least attempt to decide. And maybe it takes you a while for it to fully sink in and everything, but I had made that decision. And that's where my heart was at by the time I graduated. And it kind of made me realize, if you're having problems with motivation to do something, like if you're not motivated to do it, and you're like, I'm just not motivated to study, there's a couple things that you can ask yourself. And they're kind of related. The first one is, well, are you not motivated because you don't want it? You don't want it bad enough? Because sometimes I'm like, if you really wanted it, you would do it. If you really wanted it, you would do it. But another point that I've thought about is, if you're not motivated, maybe the stakes aren't high enough. Maybe the stakes aren't high enough, because if the stakes were high enough, you would do it. If there was a gun to your head, and somebody said, okay, if you go party tonight instead of studying, you're gonna die. Suddenly the choice becomes pretty clear, doesn't it? You're gonna study because the stakes are high enough, right? So if you're not motivated, maybe the story that you're telling yourself about what you're doing, the stakes aren't high enough. You need to raise the stakes in your mind. You need to realize that your life depends on it. Your life depends on succeeding. And if you can integrate that and realize that it's true, life is short. Life is really short. It goes by really quick. And so it kind of comes down to, are you willing to live a mediocre life that's short of what your potential is? And we all know, we can do a lot more. We're capable of more than we usually do. And a lot of times, it's like our dreams are, in order to accomplish your dreams, you don't even have to live up to your platonic ideal of your potential. You just have to try really hard. And you have to, what I'm saying here is, I think if you're not motivated, maybe the stakes aren't high enough in your mind and in your soul and your beliefs. So just think about that. I think it can give you clarity, when you integrate that belief that your life depends on it. I think it gives you clarity on a lot of decisions that otherwise you might think are inconsequential. And it'll help you make the decisions that are going to be, that seem small at the time, but they, in the long term, they decide whether you succeed or not. So, if you're going to go do something, a good way to gauge whether or not you're doing the best you could do is, you could ask yourself, would I do better if my life depended on this succeeding? If your life depended on this succeeding, how would you do this differently? And if you can answer that question, it'll point you in the right direction. But all right, thanks everybody.